I sold my father's war medals to buy my wife a piano. She called me weak for crying at the pawn shop. A week later, she held a recital for her ex. I didn't speak. I just watched. And this morning, her voicemails were full of sobs. Please pick up. I'm sorry. I still hear the click of the pawn shop door locking behind me, like it was sealing something away, not just the medals but everything I used to believe about my life. He had 4 medals, 2 for valor, 1 for injury, 1 for extraordinary moral service. I had to look that last one up. It meant he'd dragged 3 bodies out of a burning convoy after an IED and refused evacuation until every soldier was accounted for. He didn't talk about it. Ever. They were stored in an old cigar box, buried under socks in my dresser. When Mom died, he left them with me. Didn't say why. Just pressed the box into my hand and said, "Don't let anyone frame them. They're not decorations. They're weight." So yeah, I cried. In the shop. The guy was nice about it, weirdly. Didn't lowball me. Just said, "Are you sure, man?" Twice. I nodded. Didn't trust myself to speak. Took the money and walked back out into the February slush. I did it for her. Emily. The woman who used to rest her head on my chest every night and tell me I was her calm in the noise. She'd been dropping hints for months about wanting a piano again. Said she missed music. Said she felt creatively constipated. Her words. I wanted to help. I wanted to be the kind of husband who made her feel like life had movement again. We couldn't afford one outright. We'd been tight since I lost my job in October. But she was still working, her graphic design firm was doing fine. I was applying daily. Doing deliveries. Odd IT gigs. Selling old junk on Facebook Marketplace. I even did a stint washing windows for this guy who insisted on blasting Alex Jones' podcasts while we worked. When I found the piano on Craigslist, upright Yamaha, just tuned, $850. I knew it was perfect. I only had $200 saved. So yeah, I opened the box. I didn't tell her where the money came from. I wheeled it in on a dolly the night she was working late. Lit candles. Left a note on the keys. Play me, not your regrets. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. She just tilted her head and said, "Where did this come from?" I told her I'd hustled. I told her I scraped together every penny I could. Which was true, just not the whole truth. She sat down, ran her fingers over the keys, played a few scales. Then something strange passed over her face. A little wrinkle of disgust. "This isn't the one I wanted," she said. "This is off-brand. I told you I liked the Steinway models." I laughed. Thought she was joking. She wasn't. That night in bed, I turned toward her. She rolled away. The next morning, she posted a story to her close friends list. A boomerang of the piano keys, captioned, "When your man tries his best." But it's giving Craigslist divorce vibes. I wasn't on that list. Her sister showed me. Said, "Are you okay?" Like I'd just been hit by a car. I brushed it off. Said she was just being playful. That she didn't mean it. But something started rotting inside me. The real crack came the following week. She told me she was hosting a recital. Said she needed to stretch her fingers again and perform for someone who'd actually understand. I offered to help. She said no. Said it was too intimate. The night of the recital, she told me to go out. That it was just a few friends. That I'd feel out of place. I stayed. Sat in the hallway. Listened through the vent. She played the same piece 3 times, Debussy. The one she used to say reminded her of love before love gets tired. I heard clapping. A man's voice. Too familiar. Deep. Confident. Heard her giggle. Say his name. Ethan. Her ex. The composer. The one who used to send her sheet music written just for her hands. The one she said was too intense. The one she said I didn't have to worry about. I didn't speak. I just listened. I cleaned the kitchen. Washed her wine glasses. Took the trash out. Sat on the porch like a dog waiting for a master who forgot she owns one. When they left, I waited an hour. She came in humming. Saw me sitting on the couch. Jumped like she'd seen a ghost. "I thought you went out," she said. I shrugged. Didn't feel like it. She stared at me. Eyes narrow. Like she was trying to decide whether to pick a fight or play sweet. "You're not mad, are you?" she said. "No. Because you look like you're trying to guilt trip me." "I'm not." She sat. Didn't speak. Just stared at the piano. Then at me. Then she said it. "I think you cry too easily. Like at that pawn shop. That was hard to watch." My chest tightened. "How did you know I cried?" She blinked. Realized. "You told me." I hadn't. I remembered every word of that conversation. I said it was hard. I said it meant something, but I never said I cried. Right? I said. Must have slipped. I slept on the couch. She didn't check. The next morning, the piano was covered with a velvet cloth. Like a corpse. I didn't touch it. Didn't speak. I applied to more jobs. Took 2 interviews. Got ghosted both times. I cooked. Cleaned. Stayed quiet. Became a shadow. Until yesterday. I got a call. From someone I hadn't spoken to in years. A man who'd once shaken my father's hand at a military funeral. Said, "Your dad saved my brother. I owe him." He told me the pawn shop guy had reached out. Said someone tried to buy the medals back. Said the guy offered double what I got. Said it was Emily. She bought them. Framed them. Hung them in her design studio. As a conversation piece. I asked him to send me a photo. He did. There they were. For medals. Pinned against black velvet. Captioned beneath in gold lettering. Sacrifice is a performance. That's when I stopped moving. I didn't rage. Didn't cry. I just froze. And this morning? Her voicemails are full of sobs. I'm sorry. Please pick up. Because the recital was just the beginning. Because Ethan didn't just clap. Because the piano wasn't the only thing she was playing that night. And now? She's begging me to answer. But I'm not ready to speak. Not yet. Update 1. It started with a key. Not the piano kind. The front door. It was missing from the hook. We only had 2. Hers was on her purse chain. Mine was always on the hook. Right under the home is where the heart is sign her sister gave us last Christmas. That sign's funny now. Looks more like a hostage note. I didn't think much of the missing key at first. I figured I left it in a coat pocket. Or maybe I dropped it doing groceries. But then I noticed something worse. Her calendar app. She used to sync it with mine, said it helped keep the chaos at bay. Dinner nights. Bill due dates. Her cycle. But it had gone silent for weeks. I opened it out of habit and it was blank. Except for one entry buried at the bottom of the month. Ethan, 6 p.m. Be good. Be good? I don't remember walking to the fridge. Or opening the freezer. But I stood there for 10 minutes holding a frozen lasagna and thinking about how stupid I must look to anyone watching from the outside. A guy buying processed food while his wife schedules orgasms on the calendar he still checks. That night, she didn't come home. No call. No text. No lies. Just silence. I laid in our bed. Her pillow was cold. Not like when someone leaves. Cold like someone never meant to come back. I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and counted the lines in the paint. 17. By morning, she still wasn't back. Her sister called. Said, "Is Emily okay?" She posted a photo of a hotel fireplace and tagged it New Beginnings. I didn't answer. Just hung up. And that's when I did it. I drove to her studio. I knew she'd be out. She always went to her hot yoga class at 9 a.m. on Thursdays. Said sweating helped her process guilt. That always made me laugh. I didn't laugh that day. I parked 2 blocks away. Walked in the back alley. She kept a spare under a loose brick behind the AC unit. Said she liked having a secret key just for me. Guess she forgot secrets get shared. Inside, everything was pristine. Aromatherapy candles. Aesthetic vision boards. A bar cart no one ever used but always had a fresh bottle of gin on top. And there on the far wall, under gallery lighting like it was a prize at auction. The medals. Framed in glass. Centered perfectly. My dad's name engraved underneath. His name. With a quote stenciled around it in looping script. Sacrifice is a performance. Courage is a costume. I stood there for a full minute. Didn't breathe. Didn't blink. Then I noticed something else. The guest book. Yes. She had a guest book. For the studio. I flipped through. And on the last page, in bold, self-congratulatory cursive. You're incredible, Em. The recital was transcendent. The way you wove his story into your art, masterful. See you next week. E. I flipped back. The last 6 pages were full of similar notes. All from men. One wrote about how her dedication to pain as beauty inspired his new novel. Another said her presentation of grief as a physical space moved him to tears. One guy left his number. Circled it. Drew a heart. She'd turned him into content. My dad. Her husband. Me. I closed the book. On the way out, I took the frame off the wall. Walked it out the back. Set it down in the snow. Smashed the glass with my boot. Took the medals out one by one. Put them in my coat pocket. Left the frame on its face in the alley. When she came home that night, she didn't even ask where I was. She just walked in, threw her bag on the counter, and opened the fridge. Did you eat? I didn't answer. She turned around, wine bottle in hand. What's wrong with you lately? She asked. You've been walking around like some mute ghost. It's exhausting. I pulled the medals from my coat. Laid them on the table. She stared. Then said, and I swear to God she said this. Oh, you went to the studio. No apology. No explanation. Just, oh. She sat down, poured the wine. Took a sip. Then added, I wasn't mocking him. It's about contrast. How things can mean more when placed in new context. You're too sentimental to understand. I stood up. Left the apartment. Didn't take my phone. I walked for hours. Past the pawn shop. Past the library. Ended up sitting in the parking lot of a closed gas station, watching a broken air dancer flail in the wind. When I came back, she was asleep on the couch. Phone in her hand. One shoe off. She looked peaceful. Like someone who hadn't gutted a man's legacy and used the hollow shell as interior design. I wanted to shake her awake. I didn't. Instead, I opened her phone. She used the same code as always, her birthday backwards. She never changed it. She trusted I wouldn't look. In her messages with Ethan. Photos. Videos. Voice notes. One said, I almost feel bad for him. He looks at me like I'm salvation. I'm not even a lighthouse. I'm a storm. Another, he cried over those medals. And then gave them away. Like a child offering pebbles. And one more. From last night. I played the piece for him again. After. He cried. I recorded it. The file was attached. She named it. Widowsreward.mp4. I watched 5 seconds. It was her on the piano. Naked. Ethan behind her. Saying my name. Laughing. I turned off the phone. Put it on her chest. She stirred. Mumbled something. I left again. And now? This morning? My phone has 14 voicemails. All from her. First one's angry. Then frantic. Yeah? Just sobs. She says she's sorry. Says she didn't mean it. Says please, please, please just come home. But I am home. Just not the one she's in. I've moved somewhere she can't follow. Somewhere beneath the noise. And next week? There's a funeral. Not for my father. He already had his. This one's for the version of me who believed love had anything to do with pianos. Update 2. It took 3 days before I answered. Not because I was conflicted. I just wanted her to sweat. Every voicemail was another layer peeled off. From you're overreacting to I'll do anything to please don't make me disappear. I finally sent her a text. One line. Meet me at the studio. Sunday. 3 p.m. Wear black. She didn't reply. But she showed up. I was already inside when she arrived. She walked in like a stray who forgot how to beg. Hair in a bun. No makeup. Funeral chic. She scanned the room like it might bite. I had rearranged everything. All the candles were gone. Vision boards replaced with blank printer paper taped crooked to the walls. The framed posters she designed gone. And in the middle of the room, the piano. Just the piano. And on top of it, a box. Her box. Where she kept all her reminders of past relationships. Ticket stubs. Notes. Jewelry. One Polaroid of Ethan holding her from behind with "Fix Me" scrawled in Sharpie across the bottom. She looked at me. Then the box. Then back at me. You broke into my apartment, she said. I smiled. No. I opened a door you left unlocked. Silence. I stepped closer to the piano. Tapped a single key. Let the note hang. Play something, I said. She blinked. What? Play. Something honest. Or I burn it. I held up a lighter. One of those long fireplace ones. She flinched. You're being dramatic. I opened the box. Held a photo over the flame. She ran. Shoved the lid shut. I'm sorry, she yelled. I'm sorry, okay? I was lost. I didn't mean for it to go that far. It wasn't about you. That last part. Wasn't about me. Like that made it better. Like the fact that I wasn't the main character in her psychodrama somehow reduced the damage. I sat on the piano bench. Gestured. Play. She hesitated. Then sat. Cracked her knuckles like she used to before a concert. But her hands were shaking. She played something jagged. Unfinished. No melody. Just keys falling like rain. I waited until she finished. Then handed her a flash drive. She looked at it. Confused. What is this? It's everything. Photos. Screenshots. The recital clip. The studio footage from the alley cam. Ethan's texts. The voice memos she thought she deleted. The hotel bookings cross-referenced with our shared calendar. A digital paper trail so devastating it made our entire marriage look like a documentary about ego and entropy. I'm not going to release it, I said. Yet. Her eyes widened. Yet. I stood. If you try to paint me as the bad guy. If I hear even one whisper, one post about how I emotionally neglected you or some garbage attempt at spinning this, I will release every bite. To who? To your clients. Your church friends. Your mother. To Ethan's new fiancée. Her face twisted. She's real. Oh, very. I turned to leave. But paused. One more thing. She was crying now. That silent kind where the mouth stays open but no sound comes out. I didn't delete the recital recording. She shook her head. Please. I posted it. I said. To who? To someone who matters. Then I walked out. She didn't follow. When I got home, I opened the email. The one I drafted but never sent. Subject. From one soldier's son to another. Attached was the recital video. And the medals. The real ones. Because here's the final twist. The ones I pulled from the frame, they weren't my dad's. She'd forged them. Used her design tools to recreate them. Printed high-res fakes. Hung them like art. My father's actual medals? Still in the cigar box. In my backpack. Still heavy. Still weight. And that funeral I mentioned? It happened. But not for me. For Ethan. His engagement? Cancelled. His label? Dropped him. His new album? Pulled from Spotify after the fallout. Turns out, people don't like when you write love songs about someone else's wife while she's desecrating war memorabilia on video. Oops. As for Emily, she's gone quiet online. Deleted her Instagram. Switched her portfolio to private. Blocked my number. But not before sending one final message. You win. I hope it was worth it. And that's where she's wrong. Because this wasn't about winning. This was about making silence louder than applause. Update 3. I thought that was it. Thought I'd burned it all down. Salted the earth. Stood over the ashes with that grim, satisfying numbness people mistake for closure. But closure's a lie. It's just a moment when the pain changes flavor. It doesn't vanish. It just stops screaming and starts whispering things you'll never unhear. The whisper started 2 weeks ago. It came in the form of a message request from a name I didn't recognize. Clara H. No profile picture. No mutuals. Just a short message. I'm sorry to message you out of nowhere. I need to tell you something about Emily. I'm not trying to stir things up. You deserve to know. I almost deleted it. Almost. But something about the phrasing caught me. It wasn't the usual gossip bait. It sounded tired. Like someone who wasn't trying to break news. Just unload weight. I replied, "Go ahead." She responded instantly. I was in a support group with Emily. 4 years ago. For survivors of parental suicide. She never said your name, but she talked about you. About how you didn't know the whole story. I felt my stomach fold in half. Called her. She picked up on the first ring. Her voice shook like she was holding back something old and jagged. She said Emily joined the group under her maiden name. Said she didn't talk much at first. Just listened. But when she did speak, it was always in metaphors. She called her father a ghost wearing slippers. Said he haunted the house in silence until one day he just left it forever. He passed away in the garage under difficult circumstances. Emily was 15. Her mom found him. 3 hours later, her mom made Emily go to school anyway. Don't start using this as an excuse, she'd said. Clara told me Emily never cried when she talked about it. Just described it like an art installation. A performance piece. Her words. Enduring pain is part of your story. Without it, you're just a bowl of oatmeal in a world of fire. That line hit me like glass in the throat. Because she said that to me once. On our second date. She'd been staring at a mural downtown. A violent, crimson thing with faces peeled open. And she whispered, "This is what love should feel like." And I thought it was poetic. Clara said Emily didn't stay in the group long. She clashed with the counselor. Said too many people were using grief as currency and not as texture. But before she left, she confided one thing. She said she was scared of falling in love with someone boring. Said she met a man once who made her feel safe, and that terrified her more than anything. Because safety was where the ghosts got in. That was me. I was the man she was talking about. Clara didn't know everything, but she knew enough to crack something open. After we hung up, I sat on the floor of my apartment and stared at the piano. Yes, I'd moved it. It sits in the corner now under a sheet, like a patient waiting for anesthesia. I thought about everything, every twisted detail through this new lens. Emily hadn't just betrayed me. She'd reenacted something. Used me as a set piece. Framed my grief so she could play her father's ghost and feel something true. The medals? Not just disrespect. They were props. The recital? Not performance. Confession. And the worst part? Somewhere deep in the rot of her mind, I think she believed it was love. Not the kind we understand. The kind where destruction is intimacy and cruelty is connection. Where someone crying at a pawn shop is seen as a doorway to manipulation. Not a moment of truth. I told Clara thank you. She said she understood if I didn't want to hear more. But I did. I needed it. So she sent one last thing. A scanned note. Emily had left it on the support group bulletin board before she disappeared. It wasn't addressed to anyone. Just a quote. Scrawled in purple ink. I hope I break someone so beautifully they thank me for it. No signature. But I recognized the handwriting. She used the same pen to write my name in the inside cover of the book she gave me our first Christmas together. And that's when I knew I'd never really heal. Not fully. Not cleanly. Because healing implies the wound closes. This one doesn't. It stays open. On purpose. Like a window in a burning house so the fire can find its way out. I haven't answered her last message. The one she sent after weeks of silence. I might be expecting. No punctuation. Just those 2 words, dropped into the center of my quiet like a grenade. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's a trap. All I know is I haven't responded. And I don't think I will. Because the man she broke, the one who pawned his father's story to buy her a song, he's buried now. And what's left doesn't play music anymore. Update for. It's been 2 months since the last message. Since the I might be expecting. Since I walked past the piano for the last time and didn't feel anything except tired. No follow-up. No explanation. No photos. No proof. Just that single line. Left like a detonator on my phone and silence ever since. I didn't block her. Didn't respond either. I just let her sit there, on the other end of nothing, watching and waiting to see if I'd flinch. I didn't. Instead, I moved. Not far. Just far enough to feel like I'd folded time in half and walked through the crease. The apartment's smaller. No piano. No couch where I used to wait for someone who never came home. Just me. A mattress on the floor, and a steel desk I found on Craigslist for $30. Still smells like cigarette ash and lemon cleaner. I like it. It's honest. Sometimes at night, I open the old cigar box. The real metals are still there. Untouched. Heavy. Honest. I don't hold them. I don't need to anymore. But I do open the box. Because some ghosts don't vanish when you confront them. Some sit in corners and whisper reminders. Not to haunt you, but to make sure you don't forget how easily silence turns into permission. And Emily? I saw her once. By accident. A grocery store across town. I'd gone out late, needed batteries and toothpaste. She was in the frozen section, pushing a cart. No makeup, sweatpants, hair tied with a pencil, staring at a pack of microwave risotto like it held a secret. She didn't see me, or if she did, she didn't show it. But I stood there for a moment, just watching, not to hurt her, not to confront her. I just wanted to see what she looked like when no one was watching. The recital face was gone. The smirk, the detachment, the pretend boredom she wore like armor. All gone. She just looked tired. The way people do when they realize their games only work until someone stops playing. I left before she turned around. No confrontation. No scene. I paid in cash. Walked home. Didn't mention it to anyone. But that night I dreamed about the piano. It was in a field. On fire. And Emily was playing it anyway. Skin reddening. Fingers shaking. Smiling. And my father stood next to me, arms crossed, watching the flames. He didn't say a word. Just nodded. Like he understood. Like he forgave me. Or maybe not. Maybe he just knew that sometimes love isn't soft. Sometimes it's steel. Sharp. Necessary. I woke up sweating. Haven't dreamed since. Zoe called last week, my ex-coworker. She asked if I was okay. Said she saw Emily had rebranded her studio. New name. New logo. New slogan. Art from Aftermath. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. Because of course she did. Of course she turned it into content. Because people like her, they always find new words for old wounds. New packaging for the same poison. And people drink it. Because it looks like wine. But I'm not thirsty anymore. I deleted the recital file. Every copy. Backups. Drives. Even the printed photos I'd kept just in case. Because I realized something. Holding on to proof only matters when you're still trying to be believed. I don't need anyone to believe me anymore. She knows. That's enough. Let that knowledge rot her from the inside out. Let it echo every time she plays another song and wonders if someone's watching through the keyhole. I'm not. I've locked every door. And as for the baby, I don't know. Maybe she was lying. Maybe she wasn't. But if it's real, if there's a child growing somewhere in her orbit, God help them. Because that kid's gonna grow up thinking love is chaos. That pain is performance. That betrayal is just another kind of intimacy. Unless someone stops the cycle. Unless someone throws a wrench in the machine and says, no more. And that's the final thing I did. I wrote a letter. To her. Unsent. Unmailed. But sealed. It says, if there's a child, tell them the truth. Tell them I left. Not because I didn't love, but because I refused to let them learn that love means losing yourself. Tell them I was a mistake you made while trying to prove you weren't broken. Tell them I wasn't the lesson. You were. It sits in the box. Next to the medals. Because some things deserve weight. Some things deserve silence. And some things? Some things deserve to never be passed down. That's it. That's the last page. Not a happy ending. Not a clean one. But endings shouldn't feel good. They should feel like something's been ripped out that shouldn't grow back. And now? Now it's just me. And the quiet. And for the first time, I'm okay with that.